Gentlemen, welcome to the Plan Commission for the City of Hudson for Thursday, June 5th. The meeting is now called to order. First item of business, discussion and consideration of May 22nd, 2014 minutes for the meeting.
Move for approval.
Okay. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Discussion and consideration of concept preliminary subdivision review of one-family residential lots north of Wisconsin Street and west of Knollwood Drive, Carson Partners of Hudson, LLC, Hank Hatton. Mr. Darnold.
This concept preliminary subdivision review is brought to the Planning Commission tonight. Hank Hatton, Carson Partners of Hudson, LLC, purchased a lot from the Willow River Cemetery Association and had no intentions of subdividing it at this time. However, the city has Knollwood Drive slated for mill and overlay work this year. And rather than take the possibility of having the mill and overlay work done, you have a new street surface. We're looking at the possibility of them extending a sanitary sewer and water line from Knollwood Drive to the property line, so they can get the utilities in before the mill and overlay work is done this summer. Now, they don't have to do that. It's just, it'd be a cooperative effort of the developer, property owner, to not have to disrupt the street in the future. So with that, the concept or pre-preliminary subdivision is being proposed as a four one-family residential lots on the north side of Wisconsin Street and the west side of Knollwood Drive. So it's on the eastern side of the cemetery area. The access would be off of Knollwood Drive at the intersection of Knollwood Drive and Knollwood Circle, and the four lots. This general area has been disturbed. It's been used as a borrow site. It's been used for a fill site. It's been used for a number of different things over its history. I guess the issue for the city is one, we want to one, is the concept acceptable to the City of Hudson? And then staff would work, if it is, then staff would work with the project engineer for representing Mr. Hatton to do some preliminary design, establish elevations, lot elevations, and a general grading plan so that we can establish the elevations for the sewer and water. So, we're just not taking a wild guess. We're really establishing the elevation. So if the concept plan's established, you'd come in subdivision in the future, then those utilities are going to work. I guess the question for the city is we would need to get a grading plan to help establish that. Also, a consideration is the suitability of soils, because that's a disturbed site. But those are issues that our part-time city engineer, myself, and Ms. Popenhagen would work on to address before there's an agreement on extending utilities. Angela Popenhagen's here tonight. She's the project engineer. Mr. Hank Hatton's the property owner. If you have any questions, or Hank, do you want to make any comments? Or
I think you said it pretty well, Danny. Our discussions, you said, hey, now would be an opportune time for the city. We really don't need to do it. We have no plans, as he said, and really just trying to cooperate with the city. So really, the less we have to spend, the better, because if it gets to be too costly, then it doesn't make sense for us. So it's a cooperative effort to kind of do this way. It's right for all of us.
so if the concept plan is acceptable to the Plan Commission, then we would investigate what the cost, so forth. Then it'd be a decision of Carson Partners, Mr. Hatton, where to proceed with the installation of utilities or not. But what we're both saying is here's an opportunity perhaps to get the utilities in and not have to disrupt the street after it's been repaired.
Anybody have any problems with it?
No.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That was tough. Yep.
Well, it only makes sense to do it.
Yeah.
Discussion and consideration of final development plans for senior housing community, including a 65-unit condominium-based residential facility, 95-unit, 132 beds, residential care apartment complex, in a 6,100 square foot dialysis center located south of Stage Line and east of Hudson Hospital, Clinic and Partners Campus, Presbyterian Homes and Services.
Earlier in the year, the Planning Commission reviewed and recommended approval of a conditional use permit for the residential care apartment complex and also the community-based residential facility for this project. Concept plans were reviewed and approved previously by, and the conditional use permit was approved by the Common Council. The concept plans were reviewed and approved by the Planning Commission earlier on April 10th. So we've seen this project twice before. What we're looking at tonight is the final development plans for this particular project. Under the final development plans, there will be a third aspect to the project, which did not require the conditional use permit approval, and that is a 6,100 square foot dialysis clinic that will also be added as part of this project. Miss Pam Bells is here tonight representing Presbyterian Homes. Mr. Rob Howard from the architectural firm Pope Architects is here to just give a brief explanation, review of the project. Again, I recommend approval of the final development plans for this project. There are some city engineer comments. I must say, for a project of size, the engineering comments are very minimal. There's only 2 or 3 very minimal comments or plan revisions that are necessary for a project of size. That's somewhat unusual, and I think the cooperation between the city staff and the developer helped to get it to that point that we don't have to worry about a lot of issues being open-ended as it comes before us tonight. So I turn the floor over to Pam Bells from Presbyterian Homes Services and Rob Howard from Pope Architecture. Are there any questions before they start their presentation?
No, I don't have any.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Planning Commission members. I'm Pamela Bells with Senior Housing Partners, Presbyterian Homes and Services, and Rob Howard with Pope Architects. Steve Mueller-Liley with Hudson Hospitals and Clinics is also in attendance tonight. This is a site plan that you have seen before, but I just wanted to bring it along in case there were any additional questions. It does show entry drive along here, the housing building, town center, assisted living, and the DaVita dialysis building on the end here. This shows the floor plan for the first level of the campus. These are independent apartments. This is town center area, things like commercial kitchen, dining rooms, community rooms, chapel, cafe, wellness center, theater, those sorts of things would be in the town center. And then the assisted living on this side. This dark line represents the division between the CBRF designation and the RCAC. So we'd be going for the different licensing on the 2 different sides. Any questions on this?
CBRF would be the memory care and the...
Right. CBRF would be, the first floor would be memory care, and the second and third floor would be assisted living, which has services. Any questions on that one before I move on? These next 2 boards show elevations of the exterior, and then there's a materials board, and I'm going to let Rob explain that to us as the architect, or I would say it all wrong.
Thanks, Pam. This board is probably much more illustrating the material choices, but the general theme of the building is trying to keep in context with the existing hospital. So basically the natural tones, the tan kind of buff-colored predominant buildings on the hospital would be carried through in the main buildings of the campus, of the residential campus, with then some highlight colors and these vertical elements, which are basically projected elements, bay windows or sunrooms, which then have attached decks. So it kind of breaks up the facade, and it will be a low, we're keeping the structure as low as possible with a flat roof, so it's not so imposing on the hillside. And there's also it's actually a masonry product, but it's a very stone-like appearance and kind of a modeled surface in variable sizes, so it'll look very stone-like, but it's very economical and works really well in applications like this. So that's essentially, that product is kind of on the lower level as a base material. And then we'll have the variety of colors of siding working up above that. There's also, so this, excuse me, these two colors are the predominant kind of background colors, and then the lighter colored and more green and reddish tones would be the kind of the highlights. Then there's dark, kind of a dark metallic trim at the cap of the building. And the window frames, the window trim would be the same dark metal trim colors. So there's also sunscreens, some sunshade devices kind of over the decks and kind of help accent the windows, the different bay elements. So I don't know if you have colored images or the colored images are really helpful.
Yeah, the concept plans, they were presented those.
Yeah. Any questions?
What's the height, Rob, on the highest point?
I think we were about.
Well,
I think it was about 45
feet.
45 feet. Yeah.
Which was
45,
still,
and then if you go down where they access into the basement with the garage, in those areas where it's depressed and they drive in, then particularly on the west side or the left side of the elevation shown there, then it'd be at the maximum about approximately 60 feet, a little less than 60 feet.
Yeah, I think if you took the overall height of, in those highest elements, it would be close to that. The building does step down, so at the only point where it's taller is at the garage entry, because the garage is cut kind of into the hillside. But otherwise, it's trying to kind of step its way. This would be the Dialis Plus, it kind of rising up as the hill rises up towards the bluff line. So that's kind of the general idea.
and Pope did a great deal of modeling for the meeting we had with the neighbors, just to look at elevations of where the building fell and where their view lines were. And it's part of the reason we went with a flat roof, so we could stay out of their view shed. And as it is designed currently, our roof line is still 35 feet below their actually their ground level.
Ground level, yeah. At the natural crest of the bluff, basically. Yeah.
That's great.
So we're quite a bit,
pretty well tucked in.
quite a
there.
bit down. Yeah.
Anyone have any questions?
Can I? I'm sorry. Was someone have?
No, go ahead.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question about the roundabout area? If we're talking about this,
I'm just kidding.
this has been it's been a concern of mine, and maybe I shouldn't be concerned, but my concern is based off of my constituents up on that area and how they've reacted to the roundabout. And there's been talks about how, a way to separate the right turn into the hospital and stuff like that. And I don't know if that's feasible or not, but one of the questions was asked, and actually I think I personally like the idea myself, but I understand how a roundabout's supposed to flow, but I think when you have an artery coming out into a main road, I would like to at least have Planning Commission consider the idea of a stop sign exiting the hospital. Not anywhere else, but just exiting, so people can actually enter onto the roundabout versus just trying to yield, because I think that's causing a lot of traffic confusions there. And I know people are going around it too quickly and stuff like that. We have those issues too, but that's not something we can control as much as
Can we
we'd like.
talk about that at a different meeting?
May I just make a couple of
Yeah,
comments
sure.
in regards to that? One is, we don't want a stop sign at the roundabout. Traffic is supposed to flow, it's designed to flow that way. I think there are a couple other things. I had talked about striping the west side of Henry Road west side, so you get the traffic moving in You know, right now, you got 2 lanes, where you need to get that traffic merged into 1 lane, so when it's entering, you have it. Also, there's, I think there'd be, if they would add a sign, and if I could just illustrate on the board up there. I think there's signs for roundabouts that can be made. If you know, if you're approaching from the west, so you're going east on, you know, this, see, so this, you know, this is, you know, you sign it, state join hospital. So you know that this leg is the hospital entrance.
That's great, if we can do something like that.
It's a standard sign. It's at a lot of intersections for roundabouts. It's not something unusual. And the other consideration is on the roundabout, is when you're going, again, this is west, north, is that in this lane, right now we've got 2 lanes. All we need to do is strike this lane. So this traffic is starting to move over and get into this lane, and then all it is following the roundabout. It's pretty simple.
And in Public Works, I did talk to Tom about when they stripe to do that. So that part, Public Works will be handling. I just wanted to bring it up because it was brought up to me quite a few times, and if there's a solution to it other than that, I'm more than open to it. I think we need to find a solution.
Another issue is people got to drive through it at 15 or 20 miles an hour. You can't be driving through there at 30, 35 miles an hour.
Don't disagree.
I mean, there's no different speeding on any area street in the city of Hudson. So
I don't disagree with that either. But.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Please.
move to approve.
Is there a second? Second.
Yes.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Dan, would you like us to leave the boards with you?
If you want to, you know, there'll be a presentation at the Common Council meeting on June 16th.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. If you want to leave them, if you want to take them, bring them back, that's fine too.
No, we're happy to leave them.
Tell me there's a sidewalk that's gonna go up there.
Okay, discussion and consideration of petition for annexation of 12.3 acre parcel located in the town of Hudson, north of Stage Line Road and Old Highway 35, former State Highway 35 right-of-way, SSHD Inc.
Area of annexations being requested by SSHD Inc. is this 12.3 acre area here. This was an abandoned right-of-way of the state Wisconsin State Trunk Highway 35. City considered buying it. The developers gave the state more money, so it was sold to the private developers. But this, the red line is the city of Hudson, so the property is contiguous to the city. This is Hamley Road, or excuse me, Stage Line Road. This is State Trunk Highway 35, and this is Old Highway 35. So it's right at the intersection. Currently, there's the extension of the street, and private sanitary sewer and water have been extended, and there's storm ponds on the north side. A few years ago, the city considered a petition for this annexation. Planning Commission, city staff recommended annexation of the property. The Common Council chose not to annex at that time. I'm recommending approval of the annexation.
Thoughts, comments?
Is there any plans, do we know if they're planning, any what's being planned up there, or is it just very?
Well, I mean, the current zoning of the property adjacent's B2 General Business District. The comprehensive plan indicates that it's a general, designated as a general commercial in our comprehensive plan. Currently, there's discussions with the developers on an existing business in Hudson locating their office facility on one of the parcels that would be developed in this area.
Makes more sense to have it on sewer and water, doesn't it, than well and septic out there?
There's no doubt about it. That's the reason the Planning Commission recommended approval a few years ago, yeah.
I voted for it, but it didn't pass.
Why did,
I wasn't on council.
There's an issue of possible development that some of the council members were concerned about competition with downtown Hudson.
oh, okay.
Is there a motion to approve?
So
Or
moved.
is there a second? Is there any discussion that you'd like to have? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Prior to going to the common council, we'd have an annexation agreement that would be presented to the developers, so by the time it goes to the council, that those financial issues are addressed.
I have another issue for discussion purposes only on Monday, June, what's Monday? 9th, the City of Hudson, City Council of Hudson and the school board will be meeting in a joint meeting to have them present a proposed change to their, to the dog track, possible use of that property. So we're sitting down together with them in public, a public meeting. Thought you guys should be aware of it, because if anything comes, it's gotta come back here first. But we're going to be meeting with them on Monday night, if you'd like, right here, 7 o'clock. It should be on TV, so if you're interested in coming or watching on TV, be my guest.
Multiple use development or single? school only?
Multi-use, I believe, but I have not
Yeah.
seen the plan, so. Anything else for future agenda items? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh,
Isn't
yes.
there also going to be another meeting coming up that's already scheduled about the,
Golf course,
yes, golf course?
That will be on Monday, the 19th,
16th.
16th, at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
A public hearing.
A public hearing. Right.
You know, our next Plan Commission meeting is scheduled for Thursday night, June 16th. There is a, no, 19th, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thursday, June 19th. There is a scheduled conditional use permit hearing that night, so.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
Is there a second?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you. Thank you, Mr.